Welcome back, YouTubers. Today I will be reviewing Hellblade, a digital-only indie title from the developer Ninja Theory, who is also responsible for the Devil May Cry reboot of 2013 and Heavenly Sword. Since narrative is the most important piece of the experience, I will be intentionally vague on that aspect, but still provide enough info so that you can make an informed decision of whether or not Hellblade is a game for you. In Hellblade, you play as Senua, a Celtic warrior that embarks on a solo journey for personal redemption of sorts. Only she's not alone. Senua suffers from psychosis and hears voices in her head, bringing you to the realization that she's batshit crazy. From the very moment the game begins, the presence of these voices is established, and throughout Senua's journey they are constantly chattering. Sometimes they are helpful by providing direction or looking out for you in combat, and other times they serve to continue driving Senua mad by casting doubt and judgment. Whilst on the topic of these voices, developer Ninja Theory highly recommends playing the game with headphones. The reason for this is that the game was designed with 3D binary audio to enhance the experience. Allowing you to immerse yourself into Senua's madness even more, the 3D audio makes it sound as if the voices are all around you, at times pacing back and forth in your head as they speak. It truly does add another layer to the gameplay and creates a deeper connection between the player and our hero Senua. The game is still playable without headphones just fine, however you may have a hard time hearing what the voices are saying, and several times throughout the game, I found the subtitles to be wildly inaccurate, displaying completely different dialogue than what I was hearing, which at times added an extra layer of confusion to what can already be perceived as a confusing game if you're not paying close attention. The story in Hellblade takes center stage and completely drives the experience, which will be like none other you've ever had. Again, Senua's psychosis is the main driving force of the narrative, which is extremely deep and will have several layers to peel back as you play. The journey is never a quiet one, and throughout your travels you are gifted with dialogue that allows you to further understand Senua's plight, whether it be banter between Senua and the voices in her head, or the game's narrator, who will occasionally speak, or stories told from Norse mythology, which the game is heavily influenced by. These stories are accessed by finding lore stones. Scattered throughout the world of Hellblade, there are several stories to be told by these lore stones, and each story is delivered piecemeal each time one is accessed. They are, however, optional, and they become slightly more difficult to find as you progress. Hellblade is not an open world game and is essentially linear, but it is such a gripping experience that the linearity doesn't hurt the game at all, since everything flows so well. Visually, it's one of the most beautiful yet harrowing games I've ever played, and as you progress you will encounter some serene environments and moments of peace, and others that are disturbing and hellish, leaving you to figure out for yourself whether what Senua is experiencing is real or just a result of her mental illness. Progression between these areas in Hellblade are mostly reliant on completing simple, find-the-shape puzzles, which tend to get tedious and annoying after the first few times you do it. Although these puzzles are important to the narrative, since they are linked to her delusional state with patterns or secret codes, if you will, that only she can see, they still become a buzzkill at times, especially when shit gets intense. Sometimes other cool, trippy elements are mixed in to break up the monotony of these puzzles, but more often than not, they become a chore. Senua is a character you truly get invested in as the game progresses, and as the layers peel back, you get more of an understanding of the who, what, and whys of Senua's situation. This only makes you root for her even more as she continues her fight through the darkness. Speaking of fighting, combat in Hellblade is not constant and does not have much depth, but it works for what is needed. There are no weapon loadouts, skill trees to develop, or crazy combos to memorize. Instead, combat is simplified to a very minimal block, parry, and strike system with the power to slow time temporarily once you build up the gauge. Although it's simple, you can still get your ass kicked if you don't know how to use these mechanics properly, more so in the later stages of the game when several enemies are thrown at you at once in extended battle sequences. Boss battles are also sprinkled in, and yes, they will fuck you up if you're not on point. At first I was unimpressed with combat, but as I continued to play, I found that I actually enjoyed the simplicity as it made battles increasingly challenging, and seeing Senua dispose of foes with finesse is amazing. Hellblade is a fantastic game and truly a one-of-a-kind experience. My playthrough took me about 8 to 9 hours and I loved it, save for the repetitive puzzles. Hellblade is a AAA indie title that has just raised the bar, and I hope Ninja Theory can continue to provide experiences as unique as this. Priced at $30, this game is a steal and I highly recommend to anyone looking for a new concept. Hellblade is truly a breath of fresh air and I'm going to score it a 9 out of 10. This review was helpful to those of you who have been interested in Hellblade but not yet pulled the trigger. And if you have already played, what are your thoughts on the game? I'd love to hear from you guys, so I look forward to jumping in the comments as always. The link to my web store where you can cop some merch is down in the description, like I always have it. And follow me on Instagram at YaBoyRoshi if you don't already. That's all I got for you guys for this video. I hope you guys have a great day and I'll see you next time.